Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Friday evening. Want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as seasoned. Got a word for you. Tap in. Happy Friday. Happy second recording, guys. I want to talk to you really quickly about something before I settle in tonight. If you and I, or all of you guys, if we were to just sit down and have a, meeting of the minds, group chat or whatever, we can come up with like 1,000 reasons on what we feel like the wilderness season is about, or what we learned in the wilderness season, or what we think God needed us to grasp in the wilderness season, right? There's so many things, right, we could talk about. But right now, I want to talk about killing your flesh. And of course, naturally, the kind of first thing to go to your mind is like, what your granny say, your heart and your tail, or whatever the case may be, the flesh. And of course, that definitely is a part. But I'm speaking more so less about God is going to start sending people places, his bold ones. He's going to start sending people places in rooms that you will not feel like you belong. This is for several reasons. This is because, one, Hollywood, unless you're under a rock, is tanking right before our eyes, and it's going to continue to tank. A lot of things are going to be more exposed. Like, is not Hollywood is not well, Hollywood is tanking. I'll just say that. Okay, so with that being said, when you have people who are in that limelight, in that celebrity world and things like that, most times the people who are around them, tons of people, they're not going to just do or say certain things for different reasons. For one, maybe, their paycheck and their job is at jeopardy, as well as they're not spiritually called. They're called because that's their job, and it's all about business, et cetera, which is absolutely fine, right? But they're not spiritually called. So you have spiritual dominion in certain places where you can go to a place and you can have 50 people there. 50 people can be around this one person. And you can see right through everybody. You can see really what's going on because you're spiritually connected, and that is your assignment, and you're called there. So God may send you places just to say a certain thing, right? God may send you places where you can just be in the room to just see what you will be up against, right? He wants you to see the type of spirits that you may have to fight in a different season. He may send you places because there might be one specific person there who he needs you to deliver a word to. Like, it's tons of different reasons on why God will have to send, his soldiers, versus just thinking because, well, this person has 100 people in the room. That means absolutely nothing. That means absolutely half of those 100 people, or the 100 people, are probably just as lost as, everybody else in the world. So they can't be used. You're called. So when you start going to these places like this, it can be listen, thank God. I mean, I'm like 7, 8 years in, so it's, I won't say nothing intimidates me because I haven't been in every room, right? But nowhere near like how I would say maybe the first or the second time God sends me certain places. I'm just thinking back on like the first and second and third times. Oh my goodness. This is what I tell people is it's not about people being fearless. You just have to move with the fear. When you move with the fear, you get a supernatural grace that just carries you along. But if you're sitting at home and says, well, I'll move whenever the fear leaves, honey, you ain't gonna never move. You got to, if God says move, you have to step into that thing, fearful and all. And then God will give you the grace to just carry you through. And when you get home, you're going to look back and be like, what was I afraid of? What was I afraid of, right? But for some people, because I feel like with public figures and celebrities and things like that, they have such a broad platform that God, well, he's already started actually, but God is going to start using so many public figures, right? He's going to start transforming their lives. It's already going on, but he's going to start transforming their lives because they have that platform. But would that be easy? No. For one, they're going to be fought the hardest by the enemy because of the number of people they can reach, right? So Satan's going to really be on them times 15. But that wilderness season God's going to teach you so much about your flesh. So much about your flesh, meaning You have to see yourself the way God sees you, because see, in these rooms like that, right, you're not going to even feel like you belong. If you're going based on flesh, if you're going based on name, if you're going based on money, if you're going based on status. So if you're focusing on that, you're not going to feel like you belong. And if you don't feel like you belong, then what? You can't do your assignment, because you're going to be somewhere under a table hiding. But when you know you're called to it, when you know you have dominion there, right? You know, then there's no need for you to be shaky. There's no need for you to be, and let's be clear here. Again, that's maybe not your first or second time. I'm speaking about once you step into the fear and God sees he can trust you to do the right thing. And then, you know, you keep on climbing ladders. And then before you know it, you are the room. Period. I have dominion to be here. Period. But God have to work with your flesh in so many ways, because, again, if you don't feel qualified, you won't even feel qualified to give the message. You won't feel qualified to sit there and hear what God is saying to you and do whatever it is that he's required you to do, or just see or say. Like you won't, if he don't get your flesh to the point where you see and understand yourself the way he sees you, you will never ever be able to be used in some of these rooms. It can be very intimidating when you don't know who you are. When you know who you are, listen, I don't chase, I attract. Period. Right? So because he's using you, whatever's for you, whatever he needs you to do, it will naturally find you, or vice versa. It may not be the whole room. So he has to also kill your flesh, because, again, like I stated earlier, you know, with the, you know, heart in your, like your granny. Listen. Let's say it, right? Some of these rooms, you men, some of the places that God is going to send you guys, you know, you may see one of the most beautiful women you've ever seen. You may see one of the most banging bodies you ever seen. But is your flesh disciplined enough to be like, girl, you thick, but let me pray right quick. Let me go in this corner and get myself together, right? I got work to do here. Can God trust you enough to we're human, so it's not like, you know, but can God trust you enough that if you slip and when he convicts you, you get back to it? Can God trust you enough to say, listen, you ain't drinking tonight at all, right? Can he trust you enough? Because he's going to test you. He's going to, let me tell you, I failed my first test so bad. This is about, 6 years ago. I failed my first test so bad. So I heard specifically that 2 glasses of wine was my limit. Now, wine is nothing to me, but whatever. 2 glasses of wine was my limit. But he sent me someplace that, listen, these were A-list celebrities and A-list, right? So so throughout the night, I was already finished with my second glass of wine, right? So I heard him clear as day tell me to go and say something or go start this conversation. It was clear as day. But I was like, wait a minute, I got to have one more glass of wine, because I'm not really feeling like too comfortable, because I wasn't really into myself then, right? Still kind of flesh. So I'm like, I have one more glass of wine and then I'll feel more comfortable, because God, I'm a little shy right now. When I go to get that third glass, when I tell you, it was like a win. I said this in one of the recordings the other day, or the comment section. It was like a win, right? Like almost like a hurricane force wind. It was a wind that literally knocked the third to the ground. Literally, and the whole glass just shattered. Honey, you ain't got to tell me no So So of course I went and I started this conversation he wanted me to start. Very, very, very beautiful conversation. But after that one time, trust me, there was no more issues with me, because when you already feel how God disciplines, and when he's not like, because God is patient, he's loving, he's kind, he's all that. But let me tell you something, he will snatch your edges in a minute. Play with it, right? So he will watch you. So either you're going to submit to whatever it is he requires and need of you. If you don't do it, he's just going to find somebody else, right? I learned that early on. You're going to get it together, right? You're going to trust that I send you here. And if I send you here, you're more than enough. And you don't need a glass of wine to deliver any message. Because first of all, I can't even get the Spirit to flow through you freely, because you over here, you're not. So throughout that process, then as time went on, I got tested again. I've always passed my test since then. Again, sometimes it's like you're not even going to touch one glass of wine, or you're not going to. I don't care who comes and talk to you, right? That conversation is going to be high and by. And because I need you to speak to a specific person, or I need you to just kind of focus on the room, right? It's so many different things, right? Oh, I need you to, there's many times I had to fast like 3-day dry fast before going, right? So there's so many different avenues that he would need you to take, but your flesh have to be so disciplined in order for God to use you. So if you feel like you're waiting right now and you're in that wilderness and it feels like, what's taking so long, right? Again, there's 1,000 things, but could he be trying to kill your flesh? Could he be saying that? Could he be saying like, I need you? Okay, you're asking me to be a part of Hollywood, right? I don't know who want to be part of Hollywood, but whatever. You're asking me to be a part of Hollywood. You want to be used there. But what happens when I open that door and you start to see things and enjoy yourself so much because you've never got to experience that side of life, and now you're having too much fun. Now you've become the room, and I've sent you there, right? Which you're human. I'm going to convict you, but are you going to ignore that conviction? If you ignore that conviction, if you fail that test, you might as well just go ahead back home, because you might as well go ahead back home, because you might just going to find somebody else. But I know what he's shown me. See, and that's a blessing on being a visionary. I mean, this blessing with every other gift of the Spirit. But with being a visionary, because you know what you can lose, he's shown it to you, then it makes you get in line much more easy, right? Much more easy, because let me tell you, honey, I've been in some places where, God had me to behave myself, and I was like, Lord, can I just give him a number? Like, I mean, you over here checking for your girl. You over here checking for your girl. Lord, please now. I mean, just, give me your number if you want to. I send you here on a mission, and you talking about giving out your number. What's, sir? I mean, it's not wrong with the dead, right? Give him your number if you want to, then. Sir, I'm sorry. I got to go. The Lord says, I got to go home, sir. You guys have a great one. Have a great weekend. It's your girl, Kizzy Ross.